I think that it's a mistake to focus too much on occupation, human rights, or international law, though I think all of those are important things. You have to go to the root of this, which is it's a settler-colonial enterprise, and that explains everything that follows. Occupation, dispossession, ethnic cleansing, elimination of the Palestinians. All of this is classic settler colonialism. There are many differences between the Israeli project and between other settler colonial projects. All of the methods, all of the actions of this, from the moment Zionism as a political project starts in the 19th century, right up to today in Gaza, is classic settler colonial tactics and practices. In no important way does what is being done to the Palestinians in Palestine over the past more than 100 years differ from what was done to Algerians or South Africans or Native Americans in North America. In no essential way does it differ, whether you're talking about Bantustans and Indian reservations, or you're talking about how the Palestinians are crammed into the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. If you're talking about theft of land, if you're talking about changing names, if you're talking about so-called counterinsurgency tactics of attacking a civilian population, in no respect does the practice of the State of Israel and of the Zionist project differ from classic settler colonial approaches. Now, Israel is not a classic settler colonial project in several respects. It differs from others. Every single one that I know of, besides Israel, was an extension of the sovereignty and of the population of the mother country. In other words, the King of England sends English people, Scots and Welsh, to North America to take over Carolina for King Charles, Maryland for Queen Mary, and so on. In other words, the extension of the sovereignty and the extension of the population of the mother country is a classical basis of most settler colonial projects, whether it's the French Republic sending French citizens to make Algeria part of France, Algérie française, or whether it's British Crown doing the same thing. In this respect, Israel differs. The Zionist project was a national project, which allied itself with imperial powers in a transactional relationship. It was not an extension of the population of any mother country. It chose to ally itself with Britain. Before that, Herzl tried to ally himself with the Kaiser. Before that, he tried to get the support of the French Republic. Before that, he tried to get the Ottoman Sultan to support him. That makes it a different and a unique form of settler colonialism. I mean, you ethnically cleanse a country and you replace its population. That's settler colonialism. Whether you do it in the name of a national project or whether you do it in the name of King Charles is completely irrelevant. It is a different kind of settler colonial project, but you can walk and chew gum at the same time. It can be a national project, which it was, and it can be a settler colonial project. Sure. The United States has transformed into a national project. It's a nation state. There's a people that's been created here as of the American Revolution. That doesn't mean it's not a settler colonial project. That is an actually quite stupid argument that they make. You say, well, because it's a national project, or they will argue, because it's a refuge for persecuted people, therefore it's not a settler colonial project. I live in a country, a settler colonial project, the United States, in which persecuted Puritans, persecuted Baptists, persecuted dissenters of various kinds came to the United States. The fact that they were seeking refuge from religious persecution doesn't in any way make what the Puritans were doing in Massachusetts or what Quakers were doing in Pennsylvania any less of a settler colonial project. Again, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can be a refuge from religious persecution elsewhere and come to another country and persecute and eliminate and dispossess its population. There's no contradiction whatsoever. The final difference between the Zionist project is the connection between the Jewish religion and the Jewish people and the Holy Land and Palestine and the land of Israel, whatever you want to call it. That is, again, another difference. Dutch people arrive in South Africa. They have no emotional, religious, sentimental, historic connection to the Cape Colony. They establish a colony and they take over the land and they operate as part of a settler colonial project. So in all of those three respects, that it's a national project, that it is seen as a refuge from persecution, and that there's this religious historic connection. Zionism is different from, say, what we have in North America. But that does not mean that it's a settler-colonial project. Early Zionist leaders all saw it as such, without exception, from Herzl through Weizmann, through
Jabotinsky.
every single one of them. My favorite, of course, is Jabotinsky, because he was the most blunt and honest and forthright about the colonial nature of the project and about the right of the Palestinians to resist and the inevitability of their resistance. And I think that's an important point to make. No colonial project, whether settler colonial or classical colonial, has ever proceeded without engendering ferocious resistance on the part of the indigenous population. You can't take people's land away and not expect them to resist. It is inevitable, it is necessary, it happens in every case of colonization, whether it's settler colonialism where you're taking the land away, or whether it's colonialism where you want to exploit the people and keep them on the land. It doesn't matter.